Welcome to another week, another show of Hawkeyed with me, Dave O'Hara. Here he is, folks. Matt Gatens, former Prep Player of the Year in high school basketball from Iowa City High, former Iowa Hawkeye great, all Big Ten, captain. The list goes on and on. We'd be here all day, but former Hawkeye great, and now current Iowa Hawkeye assistant. First and foremost, thanks for joining us, Matt.
Thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. Good to see you again. Well, also, I owe Matt a congratulations and a happy birthday, because by the time this airs, Matt will have celebrated his birthday. You will have your one-year anniversary of being a Hawkeye assistant coach. We record this on Thursday afternoon, June 8th. So congratulations and happy birthday, and how you doing?
Thank you. Been great. Had a little time off here lately with our guys being gone, but they're going to get back this coming week, so we're excited to have them back and get after the summer. Greatly
appreciate you doing this with us today, because as folks know, we usually record on Tuesday afternoons, but with my schedule, my production partner Michael's schedule, and your practice schedule, oh, by the way, you're married with 3 kids, so You've got a little bit going on, but what's it like being back in Iowa City? Before you get into your background of growing up in Iowa City, you're a legacy recruit, because your dad, Mike Gatens, played at Iowa during the Lute Olson heydays, and you got to see guys like Ronnie Lester and Bobby Hansen. Of course, you weren't born yet, but you got to see film of your dad playing ball with all these legends. But what's it like for you and your wife to be back in Iowa City?
It's been great. It's pretty special to get to. I've told people in this business, coaching, you don't get to choose a lot of times where you kind of just go where the jobs are, where your connections are, where you feel like you need to grow your career. But to get the opportunity to come back to not only the school you played at, for the coach you played for, in the city that raised you, it's a really, really special opportunity that we're thankful for, and it's been awesome. It's been fun being around family, friends, just so many people to reconnect with from my childhood, my high school days and college days. Then we were gone for I don't know, for 10 years or so, maybe more than that now since I graduated. But we've been gone in and out of the city a little bit, when I was playing overseas, and then we'd visit. But to be back and have 3 kids here and raise them in the community that raised me, it's been awesome. And I appreciate Hawkeye Nation, the city of Iowa City, the community. It's an honor to be a part of it again as a parent now, and seeing your kids and activities in the city, and now to be coaching the Hawks, the school that you love. It's an honor. So it's something we take very seriously, and very, very proud to be back here and honored.
Well, we're very proud and happy to have you back here. So let's get into that, what it's like growing up here. Playing, your dad training you, Mike Gatens, former Hawkeye player. And again, during that heyday we talked about, but before your time, but you've seen video, you get it. And I've seen past interviews with you and your dad and how much you enjoyed that. And you guys are quite the tandem or competition on the golf course too, if I remember correctly. So let's talk about that. Growing up, Player of the Year at City High, state championship. But as you're growing, getting older and going through school, and before that state championship and before the Player of the Year award in 2008 when you graduated high school, did you ever always think, I'm going to be a Hawkeye, there's no doubt anywhere else? Or if Duke came out of the woodwork, or Krzyzewski or something like that, UCLA, or was it always, I'm going to be a Hawkeye?
For the most part, yeah. I mean, it was my dream to play for the Hawks. It was my love growing up was cheering for Hawkeye sports, basketball, football. I had a sister play volleyball here. I had a sister play soccer here. So I was always going to events, always around the program with my dad. Going to practices, going to a lot of games, going to some away games, went to some Big Ten tournaments as a kid, some incredible memories. And I always just envisioned myself one day being out there, and it was a dream. And when I got the offer as a freshman, I just knew it was where I wanted to be. I wasn't big in the recruiting process.
Right.
So I didn't want to. And I was really close to coaches at the time too. Coach Alford and Coach Neal were here. I was really close to those 2 guys, and I felt it was right time. Wanted to help recruit some other guys in AAU that I was seeing in events I was going to hopefully be Hawks as well. So that was a big piece of it. But at the end of the day, I knew I wanted to be a Hawk and wanted to get it over with, and it was always a dream.
So I have to ask, who was happier, mom and dad or Matt Gatens that you were a Hawkeye, or all 3 of you equally as happy?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they were really happy that I was going to stick around and they could easily get to home games and all that. And I'm sure they're very proud. I mean, they're proud. I mean, they're both alums. My mom was a cheerleader here as well. And so when your son goes to your alma mater, I think that's special.
So a lot of competition growing up in a house or neighborhood, or kind of how was it for you?
Yeah. A very close family that were still close. My sisters to this day. They were my role models. They very good athletes, worked hard, pushed me. Once they were kind of done playing, and I was getting more serious in high school and college. always pretty hard on me, but they're proud and cheered me on in good
Tough
times.
love.
But yeah, tough love. They're and then we're still close to this day. But my dad and I were very close. Lucky to have a dad that was so knew a lot about basketball, but also was one of my best coaches growing up and one of my best friends. So it's special. We're still very close. Now it's cool being back. Now it's awesome that he can now be around my son and help him take some golfing, at his baseball games, everything. So it's cool to see that now and to be back in the community and be close to them. That connection is even stronger. Is great.
That is great stuff. So it's not just the in-home, having present parents and present family, but also the present community. So, I know a lot of buddies and I sit around or I just hear fans talk. We often wonder what you guys go through, if that's created pressure or you just kind of put the blinders on and said, no, I'm just going to play. And if I go to Iowa, when I go to Iowa, I'm just going to play.
It was a sense of pride. Tim DeWhite's a guy I always, same high school, you look up to a guy like that. He's a legend. People like that, there's so many people that came before me that were Iowa City kids that wanted to go to Iowa. It's just a very sense of pride and community. And so I knew when I had the opportunity, I knew I wanted to do it. I wanted to be in that same group of people. And even in Iowa, young guys that had committed before me, Jeff Horner, Dean Oliver, then after me, like Joe Wieskamp. So the guys that were offered early and just and hopped on it and wanted to be Hawks at a young age. But yeah, the Iowa City guys that were Glenn Worley is another one that even I went to West High. I growing up watched him. Nate Kading is another guy I'm really close to this day. That was someone I looked up to. That was a local guy, and I wanted to be one of those guys.
Matt, let's take a quick break. We'll come back for another segment. Thank you so much. Next 2 more segments, but we'll talk about your playing career the next segment. And then we'll close out talking about your future and coaching and what your loves are moving forward. So
sounds good.
He is Matt Gatens, former Hawkeye basketball playing great, current Iowa Hawkeye men's basketball assistant coach. I'm Dave O'Hara with Hawkeyed. We'll be back with more in just a few moments.
To have a strong finish, you need an excellent start. It's true on the track and also in the field. That's why Mershman Seeds works tirelessly to deliver cutting-edge technology year after year. Introducing Starting Line, Mershman Seeds' latest advancement in seed treatment, now providing added protection from white mold and sudden death syndrome all season. Ask for Starting Line seed treatment from Mershman Seeds, your friend in the field.
Hi, I'm Joel from Tice Chevrolet. We've lived through some very interesting times the last few months. Ensuring everyone's safety is more important than ever. That is why we're participating in the Chevy Clean program. At your request, we will pick up your vehicle, service it, and return it after we've cleaned it using the current CDC guidelines. This is just another way to work towards exceeding your expectations. So give us a call and let us show you what it means to be part of the Tice Automotive family.
Welcome back to Hawkeye with me, Dave O'Hara. There he is, former Hawkeye basketball playing great and current Iowa Hawkeye men's basketball assistant coach, Matt Gatens. So, Matt, thanks again for staying for the whole show. We got this segment, another segment left. Let's talk about your playing career at Iowa. You had a first couple years a little rough coming in, and then, like as you mentioned, and anybody knows this, that if you didn't know, we'll tell you, you played your last 2 years with Fran McCaffrey, and now you're coaching with Fran. So let's talk about those first couple of years. I don't want to indict anybody, but it was a rough couple of years. And then you come in, like as you said, you wanted to bring guys in. You knew you had to build some things. Mm-hmm. Then Fran comes in, and your last year you end up going to the NIT, and a lot of good stuff happening. You could see the trail going for success. A lot of good young players came in. Aaron White, as you were going out the door. But talk about those first couple of years before Fran got here, if you would, for us, please, and then we'll get into that.
Yeah, it was a unique experience to start. I was committed to Coach Alford, and he ended up leaving going into my senior year of high school. So then Coach Licklider comes in, ended up playing with his son in high school, actually. Won the state title with him, and then played 2 years with Coach. I always enjoy my time with Coach. Very, very. He's National Coach of the Year. He's a very good X's and O's. Great guy. I enjoyed being around him and his family. Just wasn't working out. Wasn't the right fit.
Yeah, you had a great pedigree coming from Butler, as you said, and it just didn't work out at Iowa.
We had a lot of guys transfer. Early on after that first year, had I think 5 or 6 guys leave the program. So it was just tough. It was just tough. We were trying to build guys leaving, and just time kind of ran out, and then. And I had to look in the mirror, everyone's like, it's the coach's fault. But it's like, no, I was like, I'm part of this thing. I'm the one out there. Yeah. So I took that hard. I felt like we'd failed Coach, and had to look in the mirror and get better and change some things. And then Coach McCaffrey comes in and he was big right away. He told me he wanted me to lose like 25 pounds. I was
Wow.
up in I was like 235. He wanted me to around 205. So
Because you're 6'5", 6'6", right?
yeah, 6'5".
Yeah.
He wanted me to be more of a shooting guard, and I was playing a little bit more 3-4 kind of in Coach Slick's system. So that change was big for me. I needed it. Lose a little bit of weight, get a little faster, quicker, which was great. It transformed by my game to play in Coach McCaffrey's system. But he was great to me. Early on, I knew it was going to be. Still a little bit of a building block. We still had we had some good pieces around, but he added some new guys. Jared Cole senior year, my junior year, to end that year we beat Purdue at home with I think was like ranked 6th in the country. That was a big win, kind of just get us going into that next summer, believing like this thing's starting to turn a little bit. Had some solid recruits, like you said, coming in. Aaron White, Devin Marmol had been there, Gabe Olashini. Some of the younger guys coming in, Zach McCabe, Eric May. So that next year, to make the NIT that next year was a big step for the program. I always regret and wish I played in the NCAA tournament. I've gotten to coach in quite a few now, but like as a player, that's what you want to do. You want to play in the NCAA tournament. I felt like I always wanted to do that, but to get to the NIT that year I remember that we'd seen our name called. Aaron White was walking in the door, and he was just like late to the show, and like we just like hugged, and it was a big deal to us, and and it was special then to leave and see the program just continue to rise and to steadily increasing, and then next year NIT finals, then NCAA tournaments consistently after that, which is where we are now. People always say it's you're a big piece of the foundation that's helped build this thing, but it's like that's great, but I would have liked to have played in the tournament. But it's an honor that people think that, and we had a lot of really good pieces that year that believed and knew we could kind of help turn this thing around and get it back to where it needed to be.
Well, and that's great to hear too. That the old expression is you want to leave the place better than you found it, and you certainly can say that. And it's interesting when Adam Haluska's been on the show with me over the years, and when you said too about that was nice, but I wanted to do a little more.
Yeah.
And Adam, I remember we were talking sometime, and I said a lot of people think that it doesn't really bother players. It seems like it bothers the fans as much or more than the players. He's like, no, Dave, trust me. He was talking about when they lost to Northwestern State 16 years later. He's like, I think about that at least once a day.
Wow.
Something.
I remember where I was when that. And those were guys I was close to at the time. I think I had been committed when that happened, and so I was super close with Horner, Bruner, Haluska, all those guys. That was a tough day. I remember where it was, but heck of a team. They won the Big Ten tournament that year. That was a really fun team to watch. As
we wrap this segment up about your playing career, and before we get into your coaching career, you went overseas and played for a little bit.
Yep.
And not that dissimilar to Adam Haluska. You come back here, play for the Iowa Energy, and you blow your knee out. ACL, 5 quarters? Wasn't even out.
5 quarters, right.
So a game and a quarter.
Yeah.
You come back home, going to play in Des Moines after traveling the world, Turkey, and other places throughout Europe, and you come back like, all right, I'm back in the state. I'm going to play in Des Moines, and 5 quarters in, a game and a quarter in.
Yep.
Take us through that a little bit. What a major disappointment that had to be, or did it expedite you saying, okay, I'm done playing, and now I want to coach?
Yeah, that's a good point. It kind of did. After it happened, obviously I had some time to rehab. You're going through surgery, everything that you're like, okay, what's next? I want to rehab this thing and go back overseas and make a name for myself, prove I can get back to where I was. Or our son had just been born. Nash had just been born in France the previous year, so it's like maybe time to transition to the next thing. Do I really want to take him over there and raise him overseas? And it was just the right time. Reached out to some different coaches and trying to put feelers out there, trying to figure out what I could do. But felt like it was time to come back, to get back to playing, to play in it's called the G League now, but D League back then. Knew the head coach of the Iowa Energy really well. Was my high school coach's brother, Matt Woodley. Andy Woodley was our high school coach at City High. It was like my son had been born, and it was just like, let's go try it. Let's take a shot at the NBA. Call-ups were happening more often. They're really valuing shooting at a high level. He's like, hey, you could get hot for a couple weeks and get a call-up, and who knows from there. So I thought it was just the right time to do that. My wife and I loved our time overseas. Spain, Ukraine, Turkey, and France were the 4 places we had lived. just incredible to get to travel the world at a young age and see different places and appreciate different cultures and,
Yeah.
and learn different, ways of playing the game and the ways of living. So it was awesome to get to that experience for 4 years, and then feel like it was the right time to come back, and then it just kind of things happened.
Yeah.
I had a plan, and 5 quarters later, I was under the knife. But,
Well, sometimes it's easier when the decision is made for
yeah,
you.
it
So.
kind of was, and
Yeah.
I kind of look at that way. It was just time.
And thank goodness you traveled the world back then. The world's a whole different place, as we all know, watching the news today. So great to hear. And
The
again,
amazing thing is,
yeah.
I don't want to cut
No,
you off,
no,
but,
yeah,
like,
no.
if you were referring to the Russia, Ukraine, we were there when all that had started back in 2014. Now, it's a century-long battle, but like this stuff that's happening now from 2014 with Crimea. I had sent my wife home during that time. It was just there was outbreaks and fighting, and so like we didn't know if we'd finish our season. They ended up shortening our season, shortening the playoffs. They sent a couple teams home. It was just amazing to be living through world news. Right, we were a little bit more away from the border of Russia, so we didn't have a ton to worry about where we were. But there was protests and there was things in the bigger cities around us, and it was kind of a unique, stressful time to be living over there. But we ended up finishing the season, finished the playoffs, and we got out. But it's sad now, awful to watch what's happening on TV over there now.
I can only imagine, as you just said, and I know you didn't cut me off at all. I'm glad you went there, because that's the whole point of doing this is playing ball overseas. And as you said, you and your wife got to see the world. And I got to imagine for you now, and you can even tell your kids, Nash getting old enough now to understand certain things. And that's got to be unbelievable for you and your wife, Erin, to watch that and go, wow, 9 short years ago.
We were there. Yeah.
Amazing. I'm really glad you shared that. Thank you so much. So, hey, he's Matt Gatens, former Hawkeye great, current Iowa Hawkeye men's basketball assistant coach. Going to be joining me for one more segment for the whole show this week. Matt was kind enough to do this. Going to talk about his coaching career and where his future lies, and going to ask you some tougher questions now. Get ready. So, hey, for Matt Gatens, I'm Dave O'Hara. We'll be back to close out the show with more Hawkeye in just a few moments.
Hi, I'm Joel from Tice Automotive Family. I want to let you know our family's getting big, really big. We're now offering Chevrolet's medium-duty truck lineup. Whether it's a 4500 with a custom flatbed or a 6500 with the dump body, Chevrolet has the truck we can upfit to meet your needs. So stop in and let us show you what it means to be part of the larger Tice Automotive family.
Who do you trust to produce the best yield? A seat company that's chasing technology, or a seat company that's writing a book on it? Merschman Seeds is a leader in technology. We're independent and family owned. Our sister company, MS Technologies, provides access to world-class traits and genetics. And our starting line seed treatment is second to none. Who can you trust with your yields? Merschman Seeds, your friend in the field.
Welcome back to Hawkeye with me, Dave O'Hara. There he is, Matt Gatens, former Hawkeye basketball playing great, now current Iowa Hawkeye men's assistant basketball coach. Played for Fran McCaffrey, now he's coaching with Fran. So let's just start there. What's that like? So you played for the man. You guys you could tell had a very nice player-coach relationship. Of course, I joked with you earlier, much was made of this early March Madness when Iowa played. Bruce Pearl, the former assistant at Iowa, and some people still have some hurt feelings with Bruce back in the day, whatever that's about. We know what it's about, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And you coached with him. And so I got to believe when the call came this year of, hey, that's our opponent, I got to believe Coach McCaffrey was like, all right, Matt, you scouted this team. Tell us about it. I got to believe that came up.
Yeah. You see all the mock, the bracketology and all that, so you're like, oh, we could play them. But then when it popped up, I kind of squinted. I'm like, we're playing them in Birmingham? Like, so that whole deal was just
well, it's
wild.
like KU always played in Kansas City. It's like, come on.
We're the better seed, and we're playing in their backyard. So it was a wild, they had more fans at that game than fit at the home arena of their arena in Auburn. So it was a pretty good advantage for them. But I took that one hard. I
bet you did.
A lot of friends still work there, guys I'm super close to, and obviously Bruce, who was great to me, a mentor.
And spoke very highly of you pregame, of course.
Yeah, he's great. He was close to my family when he was here in the late 80s, early 90s. Was one of the first guys to hold me in the hospital when I was born.
Wow.
So he always tells that story when he would introduce me to people down there, So he's like family. So it was special to work for him. Thankful opportunity just to get into the business. He had an open GA spot, wanted me to come down and take it. It was great to me. And
Man, you're making connections straight out of the womb.
yeah,
wow,
right.
you're networking. You weren't even a day old.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, it helps. Your dad's got buddies that are coaching and doing all that, so that helps. But that was tough to lose that game. You go to the NCAA tournament. You're first time I get to be in the NCAA tournament as a member of the Iowa basketball team, and it's your scouts. It's like, but that was tough. But they had a good team. They played well. They had a great environment. I wish we'd have made a few more shots. We were right there, but hats off to the he has a great program going down there. Great talent. He coaches them up. They play hard. So, but we were right there. We had a chance.
The thing I always find very interesting that people seem to miss with Fran or this program, and you mentioned it with Bruce Pearl, what Fran has built here. Player development.
Yep.
Look at Luca Garza. And just recently, you could go to Aaron White like we talked about, or Devin Marble. We could go farther back. But when Fran first got here, then you take a look at Luca recently, Keegan Murray recently, Joe Wieskamp, name you mentioned recently, Chris Murray. For you being that's part of your job title is player development.
Yeah.
And we've talked about this on this show quite often with my other reporters and former basketball players at Iowa. Player development here is darn near second to none around the country. And we talk about that with Kirk Ferentz all the time with football, of all the free agents and three-star recruits that come here as walk-ons and leave the Hawkeye football program going to the NFL. I think that's overlooked oftentimes in Fran's program.
Yeah, both the programs are pretty much aligned with that. We're going to recruit locally. We're proud of the Iowa guys we get, and always going to try to protect the state. Then recruit Midwest, and we'll find guys outside like Luca, Tony Perkins at Indiana, Aaron White, Ohio. But we want to recruit guys that we feel like fit who we are, fit how we play, good guys, fit our culture, and we're going to develop them. Which it takes them their desire to want to get better. Want to be in the gym, want to be coached. We've done it. We've hit some home runs with some of those guys, and it's we're going to keep doing it that way. Even with the portal and everything these days that's happening in college sports, we're going to stick to our recipe of finding guys that fit who we are and fit how we play, skill, good guys want to excel in the classroom, all those things, and then we'll sprinkle in some portal guys here and there if we need to. But at the end of the day, we're going to be a development program, similar to how Kirk and the Iowa football team do it. I was lucky to grow up around Kirk Ferentz. I was friends with his son since elementary school. Program and a coach I've really looked up to as a young kid, and that's kind of I'm proud that Fran has gone in a similar direction of wanting to protect the state, wanting to develop local talent, not just Iowa but Midwest guys that we feel like fit who we are, and obviously go nationally to find a few pieces here and there, but it makes you proud, and I love that about this program, that we want to develop, we want to get better, we want to be in the gym, we want to be coached, be in the weight room, and see it through, for hopefully 3-4 years, depending on how long guys stay if they get drafted, but that's who we want to be and who we're going to continue to be.
Obviously you like being an assistant, but you're building towards something. Are you happy being an assistant, or do you have aspirations of being a head coach?
No, I've really enjoyed being an assistant. I feel like I've grown, worked with some great coaches at all my stops. Been lucky to learn a lot from those guys. I think most assistants, you strive to hopefully someday have your own program. So it'd be awesome if that day comes. I think I would like to do that at some point. I think it would have to take the unique place to take me away from here. As an assistant. If it wasn't going to be here, it'd take. To move away from here would take a unique spot, but we'll see. You just never know. Year by year, try to keep winning games, recruit good kids that can play, and just love being here in Iowa.
I appreciate you answering the question and not dodging it. I had to ask it, of course. I had to come back through the side door as well. I've had this conversation with Jeff Horner many times. He's at Division II, and wow, what a program he's built at Truman State. So when he came back and coached against you guys this year and came back to Carver, and we had this conversation about, do I want to go somewhere and be an assistant somewhere, or do I want to be a head coach? But he also got a nice opportunity after being a high school head coach. Then he was an assistant a couple of places. Boom, he gets this D2 job. And you mentioned Woodley earlier. And funny how that coaching tree kind of worked out. And Jeff has done a great job going in, 5 years there now at Truman, and national tournament appearances, Elite Eight, Coach of the Year awards. So, it's always interesting to ask you guys like yourself what the aspirations are. And you're right. Year to year, you never know.
Everyone's path is different in this thing. You just don't. don't know where it's going to take you. And Jeff's done a great job. Going from high school, like you said, college assistant, now to a D2 head coach is that's the path he's gone. And I'm just happy and thankful to be here. It's home. We'll see where it takes us.
Love to hear it. Man, I can't thank you enough for the time you gave us today for this show, but also I know with practices getting rolling, we got to have you back before the season or during the season so we can get an update if that works for you.
Yep, for sure.
Great seeing you. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you. There he is, folks. Matt Gatens, former Iowa Hawkeye basketball playing great, Iowa City native, former player of the year in high school, state champion basketball player, and now one of the assistant coaches for Fran McCaffrey and University of Iowa men's basketball program. So from Matt Gatens, my production partner Michael Merrick, and you, the viewers, I'm Dave O'Hara with Hawkeye. That's all from us. Thanks to all of you. And as always, thanks for staying tuned at the end of the program for these rolling credits to give our advertisers and sponsors the attention and credit they so richly deserve. And as always, to our aforementioned guests and to you, the viewers. That's all from us at Hawkeye. Thanks to all of you.